Uh, was this kind of short notice? I mean, I did say we'd do it. I posted something like Sunday, and then it was a busy and not. It wasn't as great of a day as I was hoping it'd be as far as like production, just working on stuff. But I got the word out, so I'm glad that you guys are here. Oh God, the chat's already starting to pop off. Jesus Christ! All right, hold on. Before before we actually get to the Q&A, just want to like just go over uh, just do a little catch up. So because I'm trying to uh, shore up the cash to move in like August, September, I slotted Jack X into the schedule. The idea was that I was going to start focusing solely on Jack X starting today for the next 2 weeks, and get everything, the whole video done in 2 weeks because I basically had already collected uh, all of the information, all the development information that's out there. There's really not a lot. I scanned the the one chapter on it from La Histoire des Naughty Dog, the French book. I'm not going to pull it up. I've cited it for Jack 2 and 3. Um, and was I wasn't expecting to work on the script much today because I had to get up for a dentist appointment, like early in the morning, and I woke up too early, so I did get some work done on it. I wrote about like 1,300 words, and I was hoping after I got back from the dentist I could start re-recording Jack X because I had already recorded the first 2 cups, so I recorded the first half of the game. Um, but I did it in 4x3, and I did that because I was under the impression that like the first 3 games, the 16:9 mode on Jack X was cropped until I like saw like a couple errant Reddit posts, and I rewatched Jay's reviews video on it from a while back, and they all said no, it's true widescreen. It actually expands the frame. I was like, oh shit, let me go check this. So I re-downloaded the PS4 version on my PS5 because it's emulated. So it's the PS2 version with a shell wrapper around it. So it's like, okay, it's literally the same thing. And I checked it and I did some comparisons. Like, yeah, okay, it is actually true widescreen. I got to re-record this. And because uh, the when you change it to progressive scan, the position of the image shifts, and I didn't want to have to keep messing around with positioning and stuff and cropping on the retro tank. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna record in 16:9. I'm going to record it at 1440p, so that way I can just like zoom in and reposition it in post and have that be consistent across all the footage, and I wouldn't lose any pixels on the footage itself. I would just cut out like the black border, the black overscan border. And so uh, I'm setting it up. I hit the on-screen display settings on the RetroTink to show the 1440p option. And at first it's I'm not getting an image, and I realize, oh shit, the HDMI cable I have hooked up is like maybe like 1.4. It doesn't support 1440p. So I had to swap out the cable I was using with my PS5 cable because that's 2.0 or 2.1 or something. It supports 4K, it supports 1440p, whatever. And I was starting to get an image out of it, but it was being a little finicky. I had to open and close the Elgato software. I had to turn the RetroTank on and off to get it going properly. Now, it should be noted that on the RetroTank 5X, which is what I have, I don't have a 4K. I got mine before the 4K happened. 1440p is an option, but it is technically not supported and is considered experimental, which, okay, I get it. You can use it. I'm trying it. And as I'm about to actually like switch it from 1080p fill, which is the default I have on it, to 1440p, 2560 by 1440, the remote dies. or or if it's sending a signal, the RetroTink is not receiving it. Swap out the batteries. It's not fixing anything. So at this point, I'm trying to save money for the move, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, let me order another remote, because there are buttons on the 5X, but pretty early on there was a firmware update that made it so the buttons just do not work. The only physical button that works on it is to change inputs. So without a remote, I can't actually navigate the settings and change anything. Hey Charlie, thanks for stopping in, pal. And so I could theoretically set the game to 16:9 and record it like, kind of like compressed and then like stretch it out in post, but I don't want to stretch out the horizontal pixels. That probably would not look very good. So I am kind of that was really demotivating, because it's like, all right, I had set aside 2 weeks to try and get this out by like April 30th or May 1st or whatever, just to have another video on the schedule, because Jack X is not a terribly complicated game. I'm sure I really could get it out in 2 weeks. I had already gone over basically all the development information that's out there, all the stuff that I wouldn't be peppering throughout the main body within like 1,000 or so words. It's a short. It's not going to be a long video. It's probably going to be shorter than the Jack 1 video, honestly. So like getting out in 2 weeks, yeah, that's easy. I can record all of Jack X in a day if I really wanted to. It's like 8 hours long. A really repetitive 8 hours, because it's a kart racer, but 8 hours nonetheless. And now I ordered another remote. It was like $9 and then $5 for shipping, and it'll be here in 7 to 10 business days, so probably by next Friday, hopefully. The problem, and I could have done expedited shipping and it would have been here within like 2 to 5 business days, I think it was. But that costs like $26. That's almost 3 times as much as the cost of the remote itself. I'm just like, man, I can't do that right now, because like, I just paid for my dentist, saving money to move. My cat's been having vet appointments because of her eye. We're thinking it's glaucoma. I got to give her eye drops every day now for the rest of her life, it seems. So it's like, man, I did not want to have to do this, but I kind of have to. I bought the remote. So now Jack X, theoretically I could finish the script pretty quickly if I wanted to, because I've played the game several times before. I know how it plays. I know how the story goes. But like that was really demotivating. So now I'm just gonna pivot right back to Final Fantasy X-2, which thankfully, with the default settings on the RetroTink, I can continue getting footage of International with no issues for that. So that won't impede anything. Not having the remote won't impede anything for X-2. So I'm on chapter 3 with that. I have to go to Jose Temple next. I just did a little bit of grinding yesterday morning. I got everyone up to like level 30, because I'm not doing a 100% run this time. I did that with the North American version 3 years ago. I'm not doing that again. But yeah, so Jack X, I'm hoping will come like this summer. It might be August at this point, just because like I want to continue staying the course on X-2, and then I want to give Halo more than 5 weeks if I can help it, which at this rate it's probably that's probably going to be what happens there, because untangling like what went on with Halo's developments and everything is so interesting, and just getting all the sources on that, because it's been asked about in so many places over such a long period of time. And also like I have to like pick and choose what I'm going to take from Marty, because I don't see Marty as particularly trustworthy. There's ego to him, but he doesn't take credit for all the music. He does give credit to Michael Salvatore, but it's just Marty's character is fuck Marty, real fucking asshole. But anyway, let's do some questions. Triforce Elder, You came in first. You came in swinging. Would you ever cover Dark Cloud 1 and 2? I would love to know more about those games' development history. I've never played Dark Cloud. I don't have any plans to play them anytime soon. Modular did a really good video on them, though. I recommend watching that. I remember seeing Dark Cloud everywhere. Like, almost everyone I knew who had a PS2 growing up had Dark Cloud 1 because it came out so early in the console's life. Like, one of my cousins, like, I don't think he was an RPG guy. He was more of a Tony Hawk Madden kind of guy, but he had it, for example. But yeah, like, with how long these videos take to make and how I still have Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts both in a regular rotation, adding another JRPG series on top of that is very tall order. Which leads into what Ivan Costa is asking. Are there any other series other than Final Fantasy I might cover in the near future? So I considered doing starting a Pokemon retrospective series this year for the 30th anniversary. I even have recorded green and blue versions. And I have plans for how I would do Pokemon. So basically I would do every game just in that generation. So for which, isn't really that surprising, but I'm also talking about like the console games. So for Gen 1 it would be red, green, blue, yellow, Stadium. And bundling like Stadium 2 and Stadium 1 and 2, like Japanese Stadium 2, our Stadium 1 in together. And not talking about the remakes until I get to the generation that the remakes came out in. And the reason for that is because I think the remakes, you really need the context of the generation that they're part of to fully understand and appreciate the Pokemon remakes. For Gens 1, 2, 3, and to a lesser extent Gen 4, even though like the Gen 4 remakes, I haven't played them, but I understand they were faithful to a fault. But that also means that like Gen 3 would be the most ambitious of those videos because it would be Ruby Sapphire. I'm trying to remember the exact release order. Ruby Sapphire, Colosseum, Fire Red Leaf Green, Emerald, Gale of Darkness, all in one video. And I've never finished Colosseum or Gale of Darkness. So yeah, that would be a tall order. It would be very interesting though. But Dragon Quest I would like to do at some point. The issue with that is like again, there's like so much information out there, and a lot of it is Japanese information. It's scattered so much. And also like with Dragon Quest, it's much simpler. And it's a lot more samey, and thankfully that would kind of lend itself more to just to having stuff come in between. Dragon Quest would be the natural follow-up to the Final Fantasy retrospective series. In the future, whenever I've caught up on Final Fantasy and I'm done with that retrospective series, it's all in the can. Dragon Quest would be the logical follow-up. But I don't know how much interest there would be in that, because like Dragon Quest is not that popular, and again, they're much simpler. I don't know how much I could like appreciate them, because like I'm sure you guys have seen my Chrono Trigger video. I liked Chrono Trigger, but I don't see it as a masterpiece. I think that the Dragon Quest DNA definitely diluted the interesting stuff that it was doing. That's kind of where I am on that. But I want to get back to Chrono. I want to do a Chrono Cross video. Not this year, probably maybe next year. I don't know. Maybe next year, depending on kind of where I am. Maybe I'll stream that. I think Chrono Cross might be a fun stream game. I want to do Xenogears too. That I've been saying that for a while because people bring it up here and there. But Xenogears definitely would not be on stream. I've heard time and again is an awful stream game. I know Eyes on B streamed it somewhat recently, but like that was not her first time. That's not her first rodeo with Xenogears. I want to appreciate Xenogears for what it is. I want to give that its due, and then parlay that into Xenosaga and Xenoblade, which I think Xenoblade is probably the one people have asked me about the most. The RPG series people want me to do the most, because I guess it's really popular, but I keep telling them like, no, I'm not going to do Xenoblade until after I do Gears and Saga, because I know they're not the same series. The connections are loose at best, but I want that full like background. I want to see like where it came from originally. Um, Actually, something I was considering for next year, I was considering Mother, because the most experience I have with Mother is I've played like a few hours of Earthbound on the Wii U Virtual Console, and I enjoyed it. The kind of hurdle with that is I think Starman.net has like a lot of development information on it, kind of like Chrono Compendium, so that would give me a nice leg up. Um, the hurdle though with Mother is that I would start with Mother 1, Earthbound Beginnings, Earthbound 0, whatever you want to call it. And so a lot of people would just be kind of like, okay, whatever. It's Mother 1, it's Earthbound 0, it's Earthbound Beginnings. Who cares? A lot of people don't care about it. A lot of people say no, just skip it. But no, I want to see if I want to fully appreciate Earthbound, and to do that, I have to play what came before. I'm not saying everyone has to do it that way, but that's where I am on it. That's not saying I will do it. It's something I want to do, and I'm not sure how I would approach that yet, because there are like a few different versions of the first game, and I want to get it as faithful as I can. Have I come across Uematsu's cover band, the Black Mages, in my research? Their cover of Matoya's Cave is worth checking out. They've come up. It's just that he didn't start the Black Mages until like after Final Fantasy X-2 was out or something, so there hasn't been a reason to bring them up. I think I brought them up in like a video, like in passing, but not like in any detail. So like I don't see myself bringing them up, just because like they're kind of like off to the side. It's not really relevant. Like, it's cool. They're cool, and the Black Mages and the Earthbound Papas. That it's cool that he was part of them, but it's not really relevant, unfortunately. So pick your battles. Obsessed with Square Enix, I love your videos. Thank you, AJ Puting. How long is the FF12 video going to be? I have no idea, Hector. I have not touched 12 at all, because these videos are me going through the games for the first time. I'm going to be on 11 for a while. The plan for 11 was to have it out for its 25th anniversary next year, but I don't see that happening because of like how much stuff I'm continuing to have to do in the interim. Sundays were my 11 days, and I've had to like stop that for a bit. I'm still on Rise of the Zillart. I finished the main Zillart story, and I have to do the nation missions now. I'm probably going to be working on Final Fantasy 11 like right up to the 11th hour. That's probably going to be next year's Christmas video, honestly. So that's your first question. Second, is it weird that every time I watch one of yours, I have the impulse to yell, "You Bluett a la Billy Madison"? That's not how you say my name. It's Bluett. I never say it out loud, so and there are people who are named Bluett. I get it. I'm not. I've been hearing people say that for like 30 years. It's fine. That's just not how you say it. Yeah, like 12. I don't know how long 12 is going to be. I would estimate anywhere between like 4 and 5 hours, maybe, depending on how much info I can dig up on its development, because there's some juicy stuff there. I can tell you that 11 is going to be like, I'm estimating maybe 8 hours, but I don't know. I actually have like I have the context section of 11 written out, and depending on how we're doing on time, I may do live reading of some of that before we wrap, because I'm going until 8 o'clock here. That or live reading of what I have of the 10-2 script. We'll put it to a vote. Hey, Nightfall. Been greatly enjoying your KH vids and the FF10 one. Question, will you cover Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy 2 at one point? I feel like it's inevitable I'm going to have to. I'm dreading that, honestly, because, I'm going to like share some of my thoughts on the Remake Trilogy. A lot of people love the gameplay and hate the story. They hate the meta story. I love the meta story. I think it's really interesting. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with that, but I hate the gameplay. I hate the gameplay. I hate stagger systems. They feel less like that you are being more rewarded for optimal play and more like you are being punished for not using a very specific strategy. I felt that way for the brief moments I played 13 and 15 years ago, and I feel the same way playing Remake and Rebirth. Um, and I haven't even finished Rebirth. I'm on the penultimate chapter. I'm on my way to the Temple of the Ancients. And I haven't finished it because I'm so tired of the fucking padding, man. And I'm just beelining the plot. I'm not even doing side quests. I gave up on that like within the first like hour or two because I was like, man, I don't give a shit. Final Fantasy VII, the original, had such great pacing, and the remake is just like, okay, but what if we made it 10 times as long and just stretched it out? Like, just stretched it so thin. And I'm just like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So I don't know how I'm going to do the 7 remake series. I don't know if I'm going to give each one its own video. I don't know if I'm going to do all in one video. I don't know if I'm going to go deep on the development or just take it in as is. Because I do want to do some videos where I just take a look at a game as is and not look too much at the context. Just like for a change of pace, so I can talk about stuff that I'm passionate about without having to do a major deep dive on it. But I feel like I'm kind of like not in a great position to do that. I think people would not want to see that. They would want to see me go hard in the paint, which is really cool. And I love doing that when I do it, but I don't always want to do it. Like I want to do some videos about like some Sonic the Hedgehog games. Because like, you know, Sonic has a very divisive reputation. Something I particularly want to do is like a kind of a mini series of sorts where I reassess like a game or movie in current year. And one of them would be Sonic 06. Not to defend it, not to say that it's actually good. I know that like some like Gen Z have some people in that are of Gen Z are, you know, trying to like say that it's actually like good or something along those lines. No, I would not say that. I think that Sonic 06 has a worse reputation than I think it should have. Not to say I think it should have a good reputation. It's a terrible game. But people exaggerate how bad it is. I kind of want to just like, kind of level that a little bit. Just as an example. Another one would be like talk about Sonic Adventure 1. I could probably do a whole series of videos just on Sonic the Hedgehog, just looking at it like that. But some of those games are a little expensive. I have Sonic Heroes on GameCube, but I gotta get it resurfaced. Shadow the Hedgehog on GameCube, Jesus Christ, like that's like a $70 game now. I want it because like that's edgy as fuck. It's not a good game, but I do want it. But I can't buy games right now. I actually have to like start selling some of mine, just help pay for the move. So I'm streaming Paper Mario, so that I can say I've played it. And then I can sell it, which the remake has tanked the value of my copy. But hey, like, money's money. Get what I can. Let's see. How do you handle addressing retcons across the many games like in Kingdom Hearts? Because it's quite stressful. So with Kingdom Hearts, because I've only been doing them once per year, I more or less take them as they come. And with Kingdom Hearts 2, it was very simple because the only retcon there was the Ansem thing. And it's a matter of taking a look at the information as it's newly presented and how it conflicts with what was previously understood and seeing if there is any wiggle room. So like for Dream Drop Distance, for example, there's the reveal that Xemnas was lying to the organization the whole time about nobody's not having hearts, not being able to have hearts. That the body will regain and try to claim a new heart the first chance it gets. And there are hints of that. There are hints of the latter, not so much Xemnas lying, in Kingdom Hearts 2 and in 358 Days Over 2. Especially in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, where Roxas and Axel have their last conversation after the Roxas fight. saying like, you know, like, is it possible that I do actually have a heart? So it's like, yeah, like that was being set up for a while. Like, people give Nomura shit for making stuff up as he goes along, and in fairness, he kind of does. But the biggest stuff, he was at least like a couple steps ahead on, in some way. Your FF vids became a core part of buying our house last year. Anytime I would be renovating a room, washing up after dinner, or feeding the baby his bottle at night, I would have one playing. You gave me a heart attack. I thought you were about to say that you showed your realtor my videos or something. I was like, okay, where's this going? But thank you. That's cool. Congrats on the house. What a pixelato. Jokes aside, I wanted to say that I appreciate the work you do. The amount of depth in your retrospects is insane. Really love your videos, my dude. Thanks, Hector. Am I dating? It's a very personal question. I went through a breakup a few months ago. I'm moving states later this year. Dating is not in the cards right now. I'll leave it at that. And just to clear the air on this, I brought this up in one of the Paper Mario streams because like that's where the conversation drifted. The topic of like, would you date a fan came up, like, not specifically, no one specifically asked me. Like, that's just where the conversation drifted to. The power dynamics on that are fucking weird and gross, and I don't like it. And so, like, say like I'm on like Hinge or, for God forbid, Tinder, like once I'm in a position to like, you know, get back out there, and they said that they were a fan, or they asked if I was like the Final Fantasy YouTuber or whatever. That's it. No more. That's fucking weird. Like, it's the power dynamics there that makes me really uncomfortable. If I'm, you know, I don't want to date someone who knows me from my work beforehand. That's gross. Any thoughts on doing the Dragon Quest series? You mentioned them quite frequently in your FF vids. Yeah, Darth. I brought this. I don't know if you were in the chat. I don't know if you were watching when I brought it up at the towards the start of the actual Q&A, but I'm interested. I think that a Dragon Quest 1 video would be really interesting. The issue there is like there's so much information and so scattered. The research on doing any Dragon Quest would be so hard. It would be so time consuming. And I usually like to work on my videos kind of one at a time. Kind of. Like, there's a little bit of overlap between like the end of one project and the beginning of the next. But man, like, Dragon Quest would be tough because of like how monumental it is in Japan. There's so much info. Expectations here, like with most of my audience, you know, Europe, North America, probably wouldn't be nearly as high. I don't know how much there's some interest, obviously, but I'm not going to say no to that. I do want to do it. I just don't know when. It's something I've thought about maybe doing like intermittently, but doing the Kingdom Hearts videos has taught me that like if I don't follow up on that kind of thing quickly, then interest quickly fades. Because like the Kingdom Hearts 2 video didn't do nearly as well as I thought it was going to after like 2 years of people constantly asking me about it. The Chain of Memories video didn't do as well out of the gate either, but that's because it's Chain of Memories. I've long accepted that. I know this might be a long shot project, but would you consider in a later time making retrospectives for the Nihon Falcom games? Like Trails? No, not anytime soon. I've never touched a Trails game, and that's an undertaking. Wait, Falcom, did they do Ys? Hold on. Yeah, okay, Ys is Nihon Falcom. I have like no familiarity with Ys. I just know that like, you know, they're like action RPGs. I've seen like my friend Joey from Super RPG Friends and Cerulean Skies play like one or two of them here and there. But yeah, no, not anytime soon. Nowhere near my radar right now. Would you ever consider doing a retrospective on the Tales of series? Also, love your videos. Keep up the great work. I know you love them, Nightfall. You're in like all my streams. Thank you. Uh, Again, not anytime soon, because like Tales that started like PlayStation era, right? PS1. So like there's not as many games, but they're all pretty long, aren't they? I've never the most experience I have with Tales of is I have Symphonia on GameCube, but it's only the first disc, and there's like one or two bad sectors and scratches because like uh, it crashed or it froze after like a certain battle very early on, like within the first like hour or two. Never say never. It's just not on my radar right now. I've do, there's more pressing more stuff that I want to get to first. Thought I was going to be on Twitch. No, I'm doing it on YouTube now. More. Obviously, like it's easier to get more of you guys watching if I do it here on YouTube versus on Twitch. Any plans for more Halo vids? Yeah, yeah, Addison. I'm giving Halo the proper retrospective treatment starting this year. I'm doing Halo 1. It's coming out July 7th. 2 September 22nd, I believe, and then 3 on December 8th. 77 days apart. And I was resistant to it for a while because I felt, yeah, everyone knows like how important Halo is, and its like its development history, and how meaningful it is and how revolutionary it was. And then I started seeing like pretty quickly after that, a lot of people really don't understand the impact of Halo. A lot of people don't know the legendarily apocalyptic development of like Halo 2. Holy shit. And so I decided, you know what, it's the 25th anniversary this year. I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to do it. And right now I'm crossing my fingers that Campaign Evolved does not get shadow dropped in June like some people are thinking, because I do not want to tack on talking about Campaign Evolved literally right at the end of production on that. I am not looking forward to Campaign Evolved. It does not look good to me. I dread the remake version of the Giant Materia quest. Oh god. Make it even more pointless. Hope you're doing well. You've talked before about looking at the Persona series, and I was curious if you had any thoughts ahead of time. So, with Persona, I talked about this a little bit in one of the Patreon bonus videos, because I did a review of Persona 3 Reload for Patreon like 2 years ago. And with Persona, you've got the hurdles up front that it is not just a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but a specific branching timeline of SMT. So there's prerequisites there before playing Persona 1. Not necessarily like video prerequisites, but like prerequisites for me doing the research. Because it's the SMT if timeline, if I remember correctly, that Persona takes place in, which is like an alternate branch of like SMT 2, which obviously is a sequel to SMT on Super Nintendo, which, they're reimaginings of Megami Tensei 1 and 2, I believe, for the Famicom. So, which themselves are adaptations of novels. So it's a matter of, okay, how far back do I go? And I decided, you know what, I would go as far back as like SMT on Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. I would have to play them to get like the context of the franchise that Persona spawned from, even if I wouldn't reference them that much in the video. And then the next hurdle is Persona 1 itself, because the North American version of Persona 1 cut out the Snow Queen quest. There's some issues with its localization, and there have been fan translation projects for it over the years, but none of them have been finished, and I don't think any of them have done all the Snow Queen quests. I know like translator Tom, he was talking about it for a while on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I don't know how far along that project is, because there's no like public progress update on it, or public progress build that you can play, as far as I know. So that huge hurdle right there, and I don't want to play the PSP version as like the main version because that's not the original version. You guys know how I do things. Um, I haven't even played Persona 1 or 2 yet. Like I got them on my Vita. I want to get to them. I'm especially interested in Persona 2. I've only played I played Vanilla 5 and I really liked it. Still haven't gotten far in Royal. I played Vanilla 4 and most of Golden. And I've played half of Persona 3 Fest and I finished Reload. I do want to do a video talking about how Persona 4 the animation is a fantastic adaptation of Persona 4. That might happen this year because again I have to like, you know, try and increase output a little bit, and I think that'd be something that people would be interested in from me. But that's neither here nor there right now. Oh shit! I just kind of jumped ahead in chat here. Where are you going to slot in the other Evilise games? I assume after 12. Who said I was doing the other Evilise games? Like, I want to play, at the very least, I want to play Vagrant Story before I do Final Fantasy 12. Like, not to do a video, but just for me. Because that was what Matsuno did before 12. And maybe play Tactics Advance as well for myself, because Matsuno was producing that. I'm not doing Revenant Wings. I don't think there were any other Evilise games. I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, it's like there's a point where like I don't set out to make super long videos, and I don't say that enough. They just kind of happen, which is why like 10-2 is not going to be nearly as long as like any of the other Final Fantasy videos after 5. But yeah, like I have no intentions on doing other Evilise videos, just because, you know, scheduling and just I don't want to turn everything I play into a job. So I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they'd be really interesting to make videos about, but I at least right now I don't want to do that. By the time you get to it, they will probably all be out, so you make that choice then. I'm assuming you're talking about like the FF7 remakes. Yeah, I don't anticipate... I wouldn't want to do any videos on any of the remakes until after they're all out, just so like I can have full context and know where it's all going. And make a much more informed decision, yeah. Oh god, the Sonic 2006 retrospective will be a fun time, especially with the fixed mod. It would not be a retrospective. It would not be a retrospective if I did that. I have not played Project 06 either. I've heard it's really good. I've seen some footage. It seems really interesting. What's your schedule for many of these long vids? I find it hard enough to find time to make something half the length of yours. 2 to 3 months. Because like, you know, I put out usually 6 videos a year. So that's the average. But for Final Fantasy, I recorded the main playthrough like years in advance. By the time the FF1 video came out, I had already recorded up through Final Fantasy 7 and I was playing 8. I recorded my 100% playthrough of 10-2, which is my first ever playthrough of 10-2, 3 years ago, for reference. Blessing and a curse that I've done that, because on the one hand, I've got it out of the way. I've got a full playthrough out of the way. But on the other hand, enough time passes that I need a refresher, which is why I'm going through 10-2 International right now as I'm writing the script, which the main body of which is actually like mostly done at this point. After chapter 4, after I'm done with chapter 4, I'll fill in a gap, and then, you know, go into chapter 5, talk about the ending, and talk about fucking completionism. God damn. Excuse me. Chat asking about their favorite series, and there's many great series. Is there any kind of top 5 series you would like to make retrospective videos about? Like top 5 video game series that I would like to make retrospectives about. I'm kind of already doing that. Final Fantasy was number one, not because I had a particular attachment to it, but because I was fascinated by it, and I never saw anyone else doing anything like this with it. I never saw anyone uh, talk about the series with each individual entry in context, because so many people either played them out of order, or if they started playing them with Final Fantasy 1 when it came out in North America in 1990, they didn't play 2, 3, and 5 in order. They went from 1 to 4 to 6, and then they played 2, 3, and 5 later, which I don't blame them for. That it is what it is. So I thought, you know what, I hadn't finished any of them before. I can go through them in order, and I can see how they evolve, and I can provide some fresh perspective, talk about them in context, and then it kind of expanded to all the research. So Final Fantasy was definitely on that list. Kingdom Hearts had been on that list because I always wanted to take to task the idea of Kingdom Hearts being too confusing, and plenty of other people have done that. There's a great video someone did talking about the wickification of media and how Kingdom Hearts in particular became a victim of that. So March Caprice gave me a wonderful opportunity for that, but with the last March Caprice being next year, I don't know the plan for the series going forward. I'll keep doing them. I just don't know about an annual schedule or anything, because so there would be because the plan right now for Kingdom Hearts is 8 videos, 1 Chain of Memories, 2 Days, BBS, Coded, Dream Drop Distance, 3. With Union Cross and 0.2 being bundled into 3, and then Melody of Memory would be bundled into Kingdom Hearts 4 whenever I have to add that on as the 9th video. So yeah, so Kingdom Hearts would be another one. Pokemon I think would be interesting, even though a lot of people have already talked about it, and I don't really want to deal with adult Pokemon fans who just want to complain about Game Freak all the time and will take any praise of the earlier games as an opportunity to do so. But it's still something I'm keen to do at some point. Halo, that's I'm fulfilling that now later this year, this July, very soon. And then for a fifth, God, that's a tough one. Figuring out a fifth. Looking at my shelf. Well, I guess Jack and Daxter would have been the other one. It's not a very interesting answer to say that my top 5 are mostly things I have done. But that's to really want to do it, would mean that I would already be familiar with it. So choosing my favorites, yeah, that's kind of easy. It's a lot of stuff that I already really, really like. Of course, I want to do more stuff. I want to do Mother. I want to try doing Metroid retrospectives. I think that would be really interesting. But, I taking it one step at a time. I rarely plan more than a year in advance. Gen Z here to say Sonic 06 is real bad. Thank you. Ever get to enjoy Alundra back in the day on PS1? No, I know nothing about Alundra. I'm 31, dude. I did not grow up with a PS1. I grew up with a Sega Genesis, and then got a Game Boy Color, then a PS2. I had some PS1 games for it. I had Digimon Rumble Arena, even though I'm not a Digimon guy. But I like Rumble Arena. I think it's really good. I really like the music. I think it was a really fun game. A really fun platform fighter. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, which that game sucks. It's so fucking wonky with its rules. Difficulty curve is fucking difficulty fucking wall. SpongeBob SquarePants Super Sponge, which I didn't play much at all. When I was 10, I got Dragon Ball GT Final Bout because they repressed that after they started airing it on Toonami. That game is also terrible, but it's got a certain charm to it. And obviously I've got more PS1 games since then. But yeah, no, Alundra completely passed me by. Was wondering if you'd like 13. Final Fantasy 13. I played it for 2 non-consecutive hours on the Xbox 360 back when I was a teenager and did not enjoy it. I put it down pretty hard. But I'm going to go back into it with an open mind when the time comes. I have to. So yeah, that's why I talked a little more about linearity in Final Fantasy X in that video, because I knew that it was going to come back up in the 13 video. So I was like, all right, I gotta plant those seeds now. I have to lay the groundwork for that years in advance, as I always do. I was talking about the real estate market in the Final Fantasy 1 video, and that paid off in the FF5 video. I plan this stuff ahead. I do plan ahead. Sonic 06 is bad, but I find it fascinating. Agreed, Nightfall. Like, it is a fascinating game. It's terrible, but it's fascinating. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is fucking killer. When it comes to how your retrospectives are presented, was that because of how other usual retrospectives are, aka just plot summary, or is it completely unrelated? Little column A, little column B. So initially the format was inspired by Clever Dick Films' Doctor Who reviews, where he goes doctor by doctor. And that's why I was speaking with that particular cadence in the FF1 video. I was trying to ape that without being British. It did not play my voice. It did not play the strength of my voice. So I quickly started to adjust. It still lingered a bit in 2 and 3, and then by Final Fantasy 4, I think I had fully gotten away from it. So like, yeah, like, Richard Carrier, Clever Dick, he goes hard in the paint with the research for his Doctor Who review / retrospective for every doctor, like looking into like the personal histories of the actors who played the character and how that informed their performance, the circumstances surrounding each era of the show, and what brought the revival back, you know, the televisual landscape, etc., etc. And I found it very fascinating, and I wanted to do that style because it was very informative. It was very gripping. As for the long full plot recap aspect, originally I was writing, I think it was the second draft, I think, of the FF1 video, and I was structuring it like that, and it wasn't very fun to write. The reason I was writing like that was because a lot of other people did it, and I figured, okay, this must be what people want. And I wasn't having fun writing it because it was really repetitive. Like, trying to talk about every town individually, and ultimately saying like, yeah, it looks like all the others, blah blah blah, not much a different tone. And I was like, man, this isn't fun to write, so this wouldn't be fun to watch. So I scrapped the full plot recap, beat by beat thing entirely, and decided, you know what, I'm going to separate this by different aspects of the game and talk about it collectively, and just leaving the ending and spoiler stuff until later, and kind of sprinkle in aspects of recap throughout. And so, like, yeah, there is still recap in there, obviously, but now it is much more palatable. It is much more engaging because it's not just recap. It is recap sprinkled into insight and commentary. And I think that's what draws people in, or keeps people watching, at least. Let's see. Do you think Jack 4 will never happen, or do you think there's a small chance Naughty Dog might either do something with it again or sell it to a team that loves the original games? So, I don't think Jack 4 will happen, and honestly, I don't think it needs to. That's not to say I think Lost Frontier was a good place to end things. I'm not as down on Lost Frontier as most people. I think it's okay at best. But I don't want Naughty Dog to do it, because all the people who worked on Jack are not at Naughty Dog anymore. So, I mean, like, that's why after Uncharted 3, like, they revisited Jack. They explored the possibility of bringing it back, and they realized, no, this doesn't feel like Jack and Daxter. That's why they didn't do it, because they realized they didn't have the sauce for it. I've seen someone bring up, like, let Insomniac do it, and I think, yeah, sure, I think Insomniac might could probably do a new Jack and Daxter justice if it came to that. Maybe, I guess. The last game of theirs I played was Spider-Man, the first Insomniac Spider-Man. That was good, but I know that they kept going with Ratchet and Clank, so why not? But yeah, I don't think we need another Jack and Daxter. I think we can just let it lie. Like, it's fine. I can live. I can live with where it is. We don't need to keep digging things up and trotting them out and trying to keep things going forever. We can let things end, and that's okay. Sorry to hear. Oh, you sorry to hear about something or other. There's a lot going on. I'm sorry. Uh, I'm very behind. I'm trying to actually answer questions and not just give half-hearted responses. I remember listening to the FF8 vid late at night when I was working 12 to 14-hour days. Got me through that rough night. Oh my god, my dude. Oh man, those are long days. Glad I could help you through them. Do you have a favorite overall Final Fantasy cast / specific Final Fantasy character, gameplay, or story wise? Man, I love the cast of 6 and 7 so much. um, it's hard for me to really just pick a specific cast. My favorite character might be Celeste. Honestly, Celeste is really gunning for number one. Squall, I love Squall. A lot of people are really down on him because of just how inside his own head he is, and how dismissive he can be of others. But he reminds me of myself when I was a teenager. I used to be a shithead, and I learned to grow past that. I talked a little bit about that in the Final Fantasy VIII video. And I do identify with Squall. I think he's a very, very relatable character. I also think that's why a lot of people didn't like him, was because they saw too much of themselves in him. I probably would have fucking hated him if I played Final Fantasy VIII as a teenager, because I would have seen too much myself. Zidane Zidane's fun, but what makes me really love Zidane is everything on Terra at the end. Steiner is a really fun character. He's medieval Inspector Zenigata who learns to love and appreciate Lupin in the end. I'm so glad that I got Modular to voice that line of his during the "You're Not Alone" sequence in that video, because that part of the game made me fucking cry. That it was so fucking good. Yeah, it's hard for me to really pick, just because there are so many great characters, but there's a handful right there for you. What are some games you'll probably never cover, but you really love? God. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3? There's not really much to say about it. I'm not even a fighting game guy. I'm a Dragon Ball guy. But same with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. There's not much to say about it. It's a fun sort of arena fighting sandbox with your own OC. That's the appeal. What more can I really say about that? God, let me look at the shelf again. This isn't all my games. I don't know. I don't know if I could see myself doing Mass Effect, because I really like Mass Effect, but man, I can't get Pinnacle Station anymore, which is only on Xbox. Was only on Xbox. But also man, the amount of work I would have to put in to go over everything. I had to do at least 3 playthroughs to get footage of different kinds of sheps, or at least 2 playthroughs. I can't see myself doing Mass Effect. That's a huge investment. Versus I could see myself doing Fallout. I would like to do Fallout, which also is going to take a lot of time and multiple playthroughs. But hold on. Roommate. Set my phone to do not disturb. Sorry about that. Yeah, Mass Effect. I couldn't see myself doing it, especially because like I'm like the minority of Mass Effect fans who think Mass Effect 1 is the best game and Mass Effect 2 is the worst one. So I'd get raked over the coals for that. People already rake me over the coals for being critical of some things. Like someone posted the Kingdom Hearts 2 video on the Kingdom Hearts subreddit. I only got like 2 comments. One of them was like, "Is this the guy who said that Tella was racist because he was like gave him Trump supporter vibes or whatever?" No thanks. I'm like, that's not what I said, but okay. And someone else saying like I was stupid for saying the gummy ship in Kingdom Hearts 2 was like bad and worse than KH1, when it's like that's not what I said at all. But you know, people will hear what they want to hear. All right, let's catch up a little bit. How will you eventually tackle the story of Final Fantasy 15 or Versus 13's development? Okay, so I'm glad you qualified the development there. Literally just whatever info is out there, talking about all the reports and previews and trailers and stuff of Versus 13, any reports of what was going on at Square at the time with the company structure, financial state, whatever. Because there's a lot out there. I've been talking a lot with Kaylin, who does closed captions for Final Fantasy videos, about the lead up to Versus 13 being rechristened to 15. Like how Nomura wanted to turn it into a musical at some point after watching Les Miserables, how he kept changing his mind about everything, how after Hajime Tabata took over the project, he like put out like videos asking fans, what do you want? And they've been scrubbed from the internet, it seems, or at least, you know, they're not on the official channels anymore. If anyone has like copies or mirrors of those, send those my way. My email's on the channel. Please send those to me if you have them. Or like message me on Blue Sky or whatever, whenever their fucking vibe coding stops crashing the fucking website. But yeah, literally just look at it as it is. As for 15 itself, dear God, I'm gonna play version 1.0 of 15 first. Like my PS4 is not connected to the internet right now. I'm just gonna put in the disc and just play it as it is. No updates. I don't know if I'm going to watch Kingsglaive and the anime and all the other like stuff that came out in the lead up to its release ahead of the first playthrough or not, because I only get one chance at a first playthrough. And like, man, the 15 video is going to be a fucking ride. I don't know if the context section is going to be as long as the 11 context section though, because oh man, I've got that written. It's going to be big. Would you be in... Oh, skipped up. Hold on. There it is. Would you be interested in doing really obscure RPGs from PS1, PS2 era? Or Star Ocean? If I find them interesting and I can find information about their developments, sure. Because like the less info there is out there, the harder it is to make this specific kind of video. But you know, maybe like some other like excursion, some other kind of video maybe. But Star Ocean specifically, I played the demo for like the most recent Star Ocean, and I know it's not indicative of what came before, but it was like it didn't leave much of an impression. Ever played Live Alive? I have not. What's your favorite voice performance in the Final Fantasy series, Japanese or English? I don't know, because I'm not that far in to like the performances. I like Lulu's Japanese voice actress. I like Matt McKenzie as Orin. So I think right there off the bat you can have those two. George Newbern is Nuge in Final Fantasy X too. Fucking Superman, and then Sephiroth. Because like I was replaying, I was like, wait, no, his voice. I know this voice. It's so familiar. And then I looked up, it's like, no way, it's fucking Sephiroth. No way, it's fucking Superman. So, yeah, like I'm only on 11 right now, so I've only played through 2 games that have full voice acting. because 11 has no voice acting outside of the opening cinematic. Would video on 14 ever be on the cards? Yeah, it'll happen. It's just gonna take a while. I I've never been shy about the fact that I'm doing the MMOs. They're just gonna take time. And the 14 video is going to have its own hurdles compared to the 11 video, because 14's updates reached backwards and changed earlier stuff, whereas 11 updates kind of like built on top of each other. So 14's like, man, I'm gonna have to talk to a lot of people to talk about how the game was at certain points, because I'm not going to be able to experience the game at a particular era. So disappointing that the KH2 video didn't do as great as you expected. It's a really good video. Thanks, Darth. I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it, especially that ending. I'm sure, like, it's going to do better than the Chain of Memories video, I'm sure. The people who've been watching it have been really loving it. I wouldn't classify it as a failure. It's fine. I think it's in the black right now as far as, like, what I put into it goes, but I'm proud of it. It's good. I'm still going to keep doing the Kingdom Hearts videos. We'll see how the Days video goes, because because PJ was telling me on the after show that, like, Days has, like, really seen a huge like surge of appreciation in recent years. I haven't played Days since it came out, and I remember the story quite well, but I did not like the gameplay, because it was just Kingdom Hearts 2, but stripped down for the DS. It didn't feel great. You're not going to believe this. I just got back into being a Final Fantasy fan, and it's thanks to 14. I just covered some info about 14 that I think could help your 14 video when you do it on your retrospective. Hold off on that, but definitely bookmark it. Tales of series started on Super Famicom. My mistake. Damn, video is like one of the best KH2 videos on here. Thank you. It was touch and go, because, like, the breakup kind of screwed me up a bit. That's kind of what I was talking about when I was talking about, like, what made Nobodies appealing, because I was kind of reeling from the breakup, and I don't want to get into details, but that weighed on me while I was working on the video. Favorite branch of the Mario RPG series, or less your interest? The only Mario RPG I've played is Thousand Year Door, and you've seen the streams are as the most I've played of that, so I have no opinion. I've been going through the MCC after picking it up for $10 during the spring sale. I have Reach and 4 left to play. Hell yeah, my brother, sister, or non-binary sibling. Like, I just hope you didn't play Halo 1 Anniversary, because the anniversary version of Halo 1 is poo-poo. Thankfully, you can just swap the graphics with the press of a button. Too bad it doesn't swap the soundtrack. You have to, like, swap the soundtrack manually. It's not like Halo 2 Anniversary, which is a marginal improvement visually, but the soundtrack is not, in my opinion. Persona would be a massive undertaking, not gonna lie. Persona 1 on PSP would be the best way to play. Yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but as far as, like, presenting the game as it was, like I do in my videos, it's not what I would want to do. I would play and talk about the PSP version, but it's not the version I would want to base the whole video around. If you're currently working on 10.2, but 11 isn't coming out until next December, does that mean you're not going to have Final Fantasy? Does that mean you are not going to have Final Fantasy completely on pause until after 11 comes out? That would be the case, Dustin, which is why I want it to come out for the anniversary next year. That's May 16th, 2027. But it's looking increasingly less likely that that'll happen. So, like, the other plan would be to have 10.2 for Christmas this year. But it's better that I get 10.2 out earlier, again, to help shore up money for the move, especially since I've already put so much work into it, and it's not going to be a behemoth like 10 was. May as well. I mean, we'll see what happens too, because like the channel is like literally right about to hit 40,000 subscribers, and once I hit 50, I'm going to do the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. So that might come in between 10.2 and 11. Who knows? Next year is not written. Persona 1 and 2 might as well be considered the outcasts. Yeah, at this point, which is a shame because like they seem the most interesting. When are you going to do the next stream on Thousand Year Door? Probably Sunday. I want to get some more work done. It's fascinating just how much better Persona 4 the animation is than every other non-video game venture Persona has taken. I've heard Trinity Soul is not that good, no. But I've heard the Persona 3 movies are all right, just a little rushed. And then I watched like the first like however many episodes of the Persona 5 anime, and I was like, oof, woof, this is rough. Only noteworthy thing P5's anime has is Ren talking Ren Amamiya. Not a question per se. Your Final Fantasy retrospectives rock. Looking forward to the rest. Thank you, James. I'm looking forward to making them. Could be worth check out Megami Tensei 1 and 2. 2 is a very interesting game. Yeah, it's an undertaking, and it's not in the cards right now because like I would want to be sure I can do a Persona 1 video before I even like start going through all that. So how do you get people to voice the FF9 characters for your Final Fantasy 9 retrospective? So I already knew Modular and Eyes on B. Maj, he and I started our current channels around the same time, and we were in a Discord server by coincidence. And my friend Joey invited us onto a podcast he was doing at the time. Our channels were still both very small. Maja like just put out his Chrono Cross video, I believe, or his like Symphonia video. So that's how I met him. And he was a chill dude, and I kept watching his stuff from that point forward. I got into his Discord server. We chat back and forth, and I would just ask him like, "Hey, like, would you do a cameo in one of my videos?" I think it was, God, which one was it? What was the first video I had him in was the end of the Final Fantasy VI video, the stinger for Chrono Trigger, where he played Yuji Horii in a little skit, and then he read a quote from Yuji Horii in the Chrono Trigger video. Then he was in Jack 2, and then I asked him to be Steiner, and he was like, hell yes. B, I knew B through the same person, as it happens. And of course, like, she got 2 of her daughters to be Eiko and Vivi. And I asked her husband Sness to be Amaranth. Alex McCullough, and God, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. I only know her as Emily in my head. So I have to just look her up real fast. Clover Girl E. There we go. She was Freya. And her and Alex McCullough, I just emailed and asked, like, hey, do you want to have a little cameo in the FF9 video? And Emily had never done like any sort of voice acting, so like she gave me a lot of takes. But both of them were like, I've seen your videos, of course, yeah, I'll be here. I'm like, okay, awesome. As for Daryl from Final Fantasy Union, after the Final Fantasy VIII video went out, he DM'd me on Blue Sky and congratulated me on getting it out. So like, so Daryl reached out to me. That's how first contact was made there. And I asked him while I was working on FF9, do you want to like read some quotes from Hironobu Sakaguchi? And he was down with it. So really it is, part of it is just like taking a chance and reaching out. And part of it is, just dumb luck, I guess. Because I'm glad that, basically everyone I reached out to said yes. And that people were already familiar with my work. That was extremely flattering. Triangle, circle, square, or X? In a vacuum, I would say X. But if you want more context, X is where you assign cure. I admire your commitment to making these videos. I didn't mean to put a question mark there. You're good, Aiden. You're good. Yeah, it is a commitment. That's definitely true. KH3 is the one I'm most looking forward to, mostly because I was there for that when it dropped. Same. Like, I stopped watching trailers after they spoiled that Roxas was coming back. I was like, okay, I've seen too much. So I didn't see everything that got spoiled. Like, I didn't know Scala at Kylum got spoiled, but I saw basically everything else at that point. I was just watching regular Pat's video on how, like, yeah, the whole series has kind of done this, like, since forever. This is not a new phenomenon. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Hold on a second. Let me just get this situated here. Okay. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 video is going to be interesting. I'm actually gonna be kind of soon recording a little bit of B-roll for it years in advance. I just have to, like, get some schedules sorted out. Any opinion on the Kirby franchise? No opinion at all. I have not played Kirby. It's not my bag. Mother and Metroid retrospective from you would be my dream come true. Metroid is my favorite game franchise, and Earthbound is my all-time favorite game. Like, I say Metroid is on my radar, but, like, I've played a few of them, but with Metroidvanias, like, the idea appeals to me, but I can never stick with it, and I have no idea why. So, like, I want to do Metroid. I think it'd be interesting. I don't know if I could do it justice. I hear it got good after 20 hours. Too bad 20 hours is a long time. Final Fantasy 13. I think you're talking about 13. Yeah. First 2 hours of 13 are the roughest, although I don't really love what comes after. A lot of people don't. I've heard, I constantly hear people tear it apart. Metroid would be fascinating, though I'm not the most Nintendo person. I have always been fond of the Samus character. Samus is fun. Samus seems interesting. And then Other M happened, and a lot of people roundly rejected it. When is the next 1,000 Year Door stream? I think you already asked this earlier, and it just took me a while to get to you. Sunday. Honestly, I'd rather they just let Jak and Daxter rest. It's best to move on. It's had its time. Yeah, like, plus, like, Jak had never had a consistent identity. So, like, the game's never had a consistent identity, so it's best to just, like, you know, let sleeping dogs lie. This is out of subject, but do you find your workflow from the retrospective videos overwhelming? I did my first video just less than a month ago, and I imagine it must be a handful for you. It can be overwhelming, yeah. I kind of break it up into bits and pieces. It's tough. It's really tough, especially because, like, when I hit a roadblock, I tend to just, like, shut down for the rest of the day and then come back to it later. Because, like, if my momentum is halted, then it's hard to build it back up within the same day. I mean, really glad to hear that, because talking the other aspect about the game does feel more refreshing and interesting. Also, now I have to continue Doctor Who, as I only watched the 9th Doctor. 9 was great. 10's my least favorite. Flat out of all of them, 10 is my least favorite. I like 14, though. My favorite's 8. What's your thought process on script writing? I find it really hard for me, since it's my first time writing anything out of my own thoughts. Get some thoughts down on paper. You don't have to write linearly. The research is the hard part for me, because I feel like, you know, to keep my citations, like, neat and tidy and consistent, I have to write more linearly. But it's okay to jump around on the page and then connect it all together later. It's okay. Know what you want to say before you say it, generally speaking. Steiner's excellent. I remember hating it at first, but as it went on, I really grew to love and respect him. Steiner's a good character. He's a great character who goes from I hate this guy to I love this guy. Zidane's for sure really the out-of-the-box protagonist. He's not your usual serious main character for sure. No, and that's why I like him. If you were the designer for Final Fantasy 17, what kind of setting would you put it in? This is something I think about fairly often. I don't know. Uh, because like we went back to medieval with 16. We've had modern for a little while. We had Mediterranean with 12. We had sci-fi with 13. Sorry. I don't know, something like try like mid-century, like 1940s, 50s ish sort of vibe, I guess. Something a little different. Not married to it, but just on the spot. Worst? Oh, Mass Effect 2 being the worst one in my opinion. Hot take. Yeah, it is a very hot take, and I stand by it. Speaking of Mass Effect, would you mind me asking which romance option, if any, is your favorite? I would probably say Liara, because my first playthrough of the trilogy, I chose her for Mass Effect 1, did Tally for 2, and I didn't have the Shadow Broker DLC. Then at the start of 3, it's like, okay, Shepard, who do you actually love? And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go with Tally. She's really cute and timid, but she's also like getting a backbone. She's becoming much more confident. Um, and that spoke to, you know, what I thought was my interest in women at the time, but that's beside the point. But also more so because, like, hey, like, Tally was there, you were not, so I'm staying with her. And then, before the last push on Earth, I'm talking to all the squad mates. I talked to Liara. And she's like, I just want to show you something. Before, if we might die, so I want to show you something. And it's like, you just share that moment of eternity with her. And I started fucking crying because it's like, oh man, she really loved Shepard. And I felt like I betrayed her. I felt like I betrayed her affections and her trust. So ever since then, I've been ride or die for Liara. Plus, like, after actually playing Shadow Broker, like seeing how she's changed as a character, it's like, man, this is really interesting. She became fucking tough as nails. I'd let her kill me. Well, she's not tough as nails. She's not like Jack, but she's cool. If you ever did Star Ocean, you would have a field day with Star Ocean 3. I will take your word for it because I know nothing about Star Ocean 3. Till the End of Time is the fourth one, right? Because I know Second Story, that's obviously the second one. That's on PS1. Till the End of Time's on PS2, and I think the most recent one was like number 6. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Star Ocean. I know you haven't played it yet and will not get here for a while, but in terms of FF voice acting, Ben Starr as Clive in FF16 is astounding. I've heard Ben Starr's in everything. I know that once he was announced to be Clive's voice, B DM'd him on Twitter for like an interview on stream, and he agreed, and they did it. And I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to talk to Ben Starr about his time on FF16 and how he got the role and stuff for that video. Good luck getting in contact with him, though. I'd have better luck nailing Ray Chase, which I'll try to do. Anyone knows anyone, when it's time for me to work on those videos, let me know. This is years in the future, by the way. This is like in the 2030s. Will you ever do a review on Final Fantasy The Spirits Within? I have. It's on Patreon. After you finish your retrospective on the FF series, is there another franchise you want to focus on? That is very far in the future, so I have no idea. Dragon Quest would be the obvious answer, the obvious contender, but that is thinking so far ahead. And I'm halfway through the Final Fantasy series now, but it's going to take me more than 4 years to get through the back half of these videos. In response to whether or not you should watch Kingsglaive before your first playthrough 15, I think you should at least watch Kingsglaive first. It was released day 1 with 15. Yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking about it, because like there's two perspectives here. There's either the perspective of someone who was devotedly following everything in the lead up to 15, and the people who wouldn't know anything going in. So it's like, okay, which perspective do I take? Because I know that like at launch, Kingsglaive was kind of necessary to understand 15, or at least it felt like incomplete. And they added in a patch a scene from Kingsglaive later to kind of like, patch things together. So it really is a matter of like what is the first playthrough experience I want, the devoted or the curious. Biggest holdover with Persona 1 PS1 is the slow battle animations. Yeah, but it's part and parcel. It's part of the experience. I also think watching the movie would inform a good point in your retrospective about buying external content to experience the story. Yeah, that is a point I would make, because 15 had a lot of that. As far as I know, I've heard some stuff about that. Wow, Modular's channel got me to your retrospective videos. Honestly, yeah, there's crossover. There's crossover between our audiences. He asked me to be in the Ultimate 8 video, and I said yes immediately. When you eventually cover 15, is it only going to be about the game, or are you considering covering the prequels, Kingsglaive and A King's Tale on Patreon, like with the FF7 compilation and Legend of the Crystal? The 15 video, I want to make that all of 15. All of it. Because unlike the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, or at least Advent Children, and Legend of the Crystal, all of that stuff was contemporaneous with 15. And obviously there was going to be more DLC, but that was turned into a book of short stories. And it was still fairly contemporaneous. So I would want to get that all in one video. I don't want to lock anything off there, because that all feels like a whole package, as like disparate as it is, because it was all made to be a collective whole, unlike say 10 2.5 and Final Fantasy 10 Will. Those are post hoc, written 10 years later additions to the Final Fantasy 10 story. Those are going on Patreon, because you do not need those to appreciate 10.2. I might change my mind about that. I might put them in the video in some capacity, more than just like a mention of them and saying, hey, go to the Patreon. But I've still got a little time to really come down on a decision on that. I haven't even read the novella, or listened to Will yet, because I want to get through the main body and last mission first. So we'll see. All right. What other game series would be considering making a retrospective series on? I think you'd cook with Dragon Quest or Octopath. Dragon Quest, it's of interest. Octopath, I don't know. Maybe. I haven't played Octopath, and I've heard conflicting things. Any interest in horror games? I won't say no. Like, I'm more amenable to horror games than I am like horror movies, if that makes sense. Like, I played Dead Space, like the first one, and I thought that was good. And I'm interested in Silent Hill 2. Like, just to play, not to make videos about. But it's not something I like really seek out. It's Bluett Dimbeek. Would love it if the next Final Fantasy game set in space. We had some space stuff in earlier games. Star Ocean Till the End of Time is a classic for me. I want to get it just because it looks like one of the most PS2-ass looking JRPGs ever made. That's all I want. That's the only reason I want it. Till the End of Time is the third game. Okay. I only want an FF8 remake just to have Ben Starr play as Cypher. Why Cypher specifically? No. I'm one of the few that actually loves 13. Its sequels are unnecessary, though. Funny thing is, I've heard from people who don't like 13 that they really like at least 13 too. So it's gonna be interesting how I kind of feel about all of them. FF15 is where I first heard of Ray Chase, and now he's one of my favorite voice actors. That game ended up coming out on my birthday too, and yet I've still never finished it. Yeah, Ray Chase was kind of everywhere for a hot minute, wasn't he? And, you know, he's the master of masters in Kingdom Hearts. 13 is quite underrated, and the second sequel is awesome. The first sequel is okay at best. I played the demo for Lightning Returns. I thought it was really interesting. This was back in 2014. This was 12 years ago. Holy shit. If you had to choose, would you rather get hunted down by Organization 13 or the Council from KH1? They can cross worlds. I don't know. I guess the Council. Neither are that intimidating. They're both kind of whatever. As far as like a genuine, like as far as like threats go, I kind of put them on equal footing as like a personal threat. Have you ever watched the dubbed version of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross? The Dado dub? Demo? No, I haven't watched it. It's on my radar though. I need to like at least give it a shot. I've heard it's actually like a really good way of getting that story. 13 story is great. Gameplay is meh. 13.2 gameplay is better. Story's all over the place. I'll see about that because I just heard that people who didn't like 13 liked 13 too. Because I think it'd be interesting to see Ben Starr play an antagonist role, especially given Cypher's rivalry with Squall. I can see him pulling it off. I guess. I heard Neil Newbon wanted to play Cypher too, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I honestly think Will Friedle was a really good Cypher in KH2. I can see him being Cypher in an FF8 remake. I think he's well suited to it. Till the End of Time is indeed the most PS2ist game I've ever played to date. Yeah, it looks like Phantasy Star Universe, like visually, which is funny because obviously that was Sega and Sonic Team, and that was in 2006. 2006 was a hell of a rough year for Sega. I've started a lot of Final Fantasy games, come to think of it, but I've only finished a couple. I have finished 11 of them. 1 through 10 too. Verso from Expedition 33 is a slightly antagonistic Ben Starr role, might fit for you. I haven't played Expedition 33, so I still have it in shrink wrap actually. Till the End of Time was also on the edge of greatness. You could say that about a lot of things, but context. When Lightning Returns started with the timed quest, it gave me FOMO and I hated feeling stressed to rush the story. Yeah, I've heard that like it's better to like kind of like intentionally fail and do a new game plus so that you actually get like more powerful options at shops or something for Lightning Returns. I can't remember exactly what it was. I haven't watched Clement's videos in a hot minute. Clement does not remember Final Fantasy XI. Remember that. Best RPG battle system? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't have enough experience with them to really tell you. A lot of them are just kind of like, a lot of them are kind of interchangeable. He was good in KH2. Consider Ben my second choice backup in case they can't get the Will Friedle to voice him, which is who I generally want. Will Friedle usually like is pretty open, so I doubt they would tap him for it though. As in fun to play, I don't know. Like I like Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix on critical mode. Does that count? I think of all the upcoming FF retrospectives you're doing, I'm probably the most excited for 12 and 15. My brother, you are going to be waiting a very long time. 12's not coming for like another 2 years at least. And 15, God. So if 13 would be at the end of 2028, then the sequels would be in 2029. 14 would probably be in 2030. So you're looking at like 2031 for 15 at the rate we're going. Because like Not that I have like exact dates planned out, but I'm just kind of like estimating the cadence we're moving at right now. Because like I always knew I was gonna have to like slow down with the Final Fantasy videos as I kept going with them, because they just got bigger and more complicated, and there's much more to talk about. Going down to one a year is something that I was kind of dreading for a hot minute, just because like that's the big one, that's the tent pole. So like this is my job, but I don't want to like rush things out. I don't want to force FF11 out the door, for example, and only talk about like the first one or two expansions at most, because 11 has like a long legacy. It's the most overlooked mainline entry, and the people who will be watching that come basically in one of two camps. I love Final Fantasy XI and have played it for the past 20 plus years, and I know so much about it, and I'm looking forward to you giving it its due. And I know nothing about Final Fantasy XI. Please teach me everything. So I got to appeal to both crowds, and there's a lot of pressure on that. The 11 video is, there's a lot of pressure with the 11 video. Good things come to those who wait, as they say. Yes, it's very true. Which is why I hope the wait for 11 will be worth it. Have you played the Mana games? I remember getting to 100% Legend of Mana with a cousin of mine, and it has a really special place for me. I have not played the Mana series at all. Like, I have the Final Fantasy videos, and I talk about other JRPGs in them. I'm not as familiar with a lot of the genre as you guys might think. I'm just exceedingly familiar with this one series because of all the research I do, and I look around it. Your vid will be the first vid to actually cover 11. Not you, Pro Jared. I don't know. Greg Troyan did a big video talking about 11's story that a lot of people seem to like. I haven't watched it yet because it's talking about the story specifically, and I want to go into a lot of it. I want to go into 11's story blind, which has been great. I have no idea what to expect. Nobody spoils 11's story because nobody's played it. And a lot of the people who have played it are in it for the gameplay and the experience. I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who love 11's story. People have been telling me, oh man, you're going to love Chains of Promathia. And I'm so looking forward to Chains of Promathia. But I have to wait until I do the other nation missions, and I need to wait for schedules to clear up, because like I like playing them with friends. I did Castles of All, not for the first time, with on B's stream with her and SNES and like a few other people in her Discord server, and I was leading the charge because I had done it before, and man, that was so fun. That was so fun. That was a great experience. I'm so glad I got footage of all of it, because it's going in the video, and like even she's like, yeah, Castles of All, that experience has a special place in her memory, because of just like it felt like Final Fantasy XI firing on all cylinders, and that was the end of the base game. Like we haven't even got to the real juicy stuff yet. What FF game would you say deserves a remake the most? Either an FF style or a normal one. My vote's on 6 just because I want more people to play 6. The people who won't play 6 because it's a pixel game are weak-willed. I brought this up however many times. My friend Kira, I gifted her Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster on Steam, and she's been streaming it. I think she's finishing it tonight on stream, because she actually she's actually up and about at a decent time today. I say decent, she's up and about, and she did just because, like, you know what, it was gifted. I kept asking her to play it, saying she'd like it, so she kind of caved, and she's been so taken with it. She's been so impressed with how strong the writing and the characters are in spite of the relatively low fidelity. Yeah, it's the pixel remaster, but set that aside. So yeah, like Final Fantasy VI still fucking holds up, and anyone who can't get past the fact that it's a pixel game, that's their problem. I don't think it should get a remake because I think that even if you were trying to keep it at a modest scale and not make it like two parts like the FF7 remake got split into three, I think the scale is like way too much. Like you'd have to like reel it in or else that budget would get out of fucking hand. Or otherwise it would not meet people's like preconceived ideas and expectations of what characters should look and sound like in 3D with voice acting. So, but which one do I think deserves a remake the most? 11, kind of. And I say kind of because obviously it's not going to stay around forever, even though it is doing really well right now. But some people, like, there have been people who haven't played it saying, like, oh, just make it playable offline. No, that, like, yeah, like, theoretically, like, if with all the stuff that's in there right now, if you just made it playable offline without a server, you could play it. But it would not feel like it was made for it. So, like, even though, like, it would kind of go against the themes of the base game about, cooperation between different peoples, 11, I think, deserves a remake to make it more accessible and more palatable to single players. Because 11 is great, and more people need to play it. I'm definitely curious about 11 for sure, but it's the one I know the least about. Yeah. Like, my server, you can't join my server on a new account anymore. Well, I say anymore. Right now, they closed off Asura, Bahamut, and Odin because too many people are joining. 11 just keeps winning. What Final Fantasy do you think had the most obvious theme, as in something the audience would probably hit on themselves without much critical analysis? Final Fantasy VI, just because like it spells it out its themes right at the end when everyone's confronting Kefka. It's not about the end result. It's about what you do with your life. Like it hits you over the head with it, but like it was already building towards that, and it's still strong, even though it's saying it out loud. Good evening, Bronwyn. Thanks for stopping in. Following up on 13 sequels, 13.2 gameplay was a huge improvement, but the stories are what is unnecessary to what is a fantastic story in the original. I also feel that way for 10.2. Yeah, I know that like 13 did not leave itself open for a sequel. Like, lightning falls down a hole off screen. I think that's the setup. I agree though. Like 10.2 didn't need a sequel, or 10.2 didn't need to happen. But I think thematically, what 10.2 is doing feels right for a follow up to 10. If a follow up had to happen. The execution is a little bit of a different story. Refusing to play an old game because it's old is baffling to me. Yeah, and yeah, it's just such a prominent point of view. Oh, we need a remake of this game. It's like, why not just get a port? I love FF6, but I feel that like that thing will take a ton of time to remake in any style. Yeah, it's an undertaking. Do you have any thoughts on the current state of the RPG genre right now? Remakes, retroports, new IPs such as Clair Obscur. I think that the genre, generally speaking, is in a strong place, but the people who care the most about these games and whether or not they're doing well are really insufferable. Turn-based is back. Turn-based is back. Turn-based never left. People said that when Persona 5 was a huge new thing. People say it with Clair Obscur now. It never went away. You're doing these Herculean tasks with the MMOs as well. Are you wary of a Joseph Anderson witch retrospective fumble? Love your videos on FF so far and would hate to be rug pulled. I'm not familiar exactly with what you're talking about. I know of Joseph Anderson. I know that like some people kind of like look down on him. I don't really watch his stuff. I certainly don't know what happened with his witch retrospective. I don't even know what witch is. So you're gonna have to like fill me in here. 13 supremacy. Okay, Sabin, go take your pills. My experience with 11 began and ended when a fish flew out of the water and chased me all the way across the map to kill me. Hell yeah, that classic. Oh, that's the experience. That's the life. That's the good shit. Are you ever going to cover Final Fantasy Type 0 as a retrospective on the channel? I have no plans to at the moment. It would be weird because like I know that there was a fan translation I think in the works for Type 0 before the HD version got announced. So like I would not be able to play the original version because I can't read Japanese. So that'd be a weird one to do. I would not be able to do it the same way that I do all my other videos. It wouldn't be to my liking. And yeah, an American who can pronounce my name correctly. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Do people like think that the W comes before the N? They call you like Brownin? Going to head out for now. Have a good stream. Thanks for stopping in, Aiden. Always good to see you. Type 0 is supposed to be a mobile game for Symbian OS phones called FF Agido. It was that you're thinking of another game. So Type 0 was always going to be on PSP and was going to be called Agido 13. The phone game FF Agido kind of like spun out from it. They got rid of the Agido 13 branding after 13 came out and they called it Type 0. Some people think because like the 13 brand was poison, it did well in Japan. But ultimately it's what happened. It's not called Agido anymore. It's Type 0. It's Type 0. But you are right. There was a Symbian phone game called Final Fantasy Agido. I didn't mind 13-2's story. Caius was a more interesting villain than Bartandalus. All I know is that Bartandalus is like the Pope or something. I'm vaguely familiar with Caius's whole deal, but I don't want to get into that right now just because I'll get there when I get there. The post-FF10 games do sadden me with their direction. They are making me a little anxious because they're kind of all over the map. But 10-2, I know where I stand on it. 11, I'm loving. And honestly, I'm worried about how the 11 video is going to do because, like, again, only a minority of players, a minority of FF fans are familiar with and love 11. Everyone else is just like, oh, well, what is this here? So I can see it doing really well, and I can also see it completely bombing, but we'll see how it goes. It's already the most expensive video that I've ever done, and I'm not even close to finishing it. E33 crowd is the most insufferable. Yeah, they're... Whew. How do you feel about CRPGs? Have you played any? Not many. I've played Fallout 1, and I really like Fallout 1. I think that's a great game. I have tried playing Fallout 2 here and there, and I don't like how Fallout 2 punishes you for not playing melee or unarmed in the opening hours. I haven't played much of Fallout 2 because of that. It feels very restrictive in those opening hours, and I know Fallout 2 leans more onto the humor and into like pop culture references, and that's not what I liked about Fallout 1 or New Vegas. So I know a lot of people say Fallout 2 is like the best game in the series. Like longtime fans say it's like the best game in the series, if not New Vegas. But I have a feeling that like I'm going to come away from it thinking, man, what a letdown from Fallout 1. Nothing makes me like RPGs less than RPG communities. I'm just gonna play Metaphore Fantazio in a corner and not argue about turn-based combat or not. I've been meaning to actually like sit down and like play the demo for Metaphor Fantasio. I just haven't had the fucking time. I've yet to play E33, but you got to give it to them and Metaphor for bringing turn-based back. It never left, my dude. Joseph Anderson did a retrospective on the The Witcher. Released the Witcher 1 and 2 video. Spent 5 years telling his Patreon it's coming to release an unfinished Witcher 3 video on April 1st, which was funny. Oof. I mean, I have 2 ideas in mind for April Fool's videos. One may not be an April 1st thing. It might be coming sooner than expected. I'm waiting to hear back on some things. And the other, I have like 1 year left to actually like make it a thing and have it like, and have the joke actually land. But I don't see it happening because it would be a massive undertaking for a video that is, for all intents and purposes, a joke, but is played totally straight. Think of Quentin Reviews when he had his dad put out like that 36-hour video on the Beverly Hillbillies, which I helped edit in spots. When people thought like, oh, it's probably just a loop, and then you go through and it's like, oh no, this is like actually 36 hours of someone talking about the Beverly Hillbillies. It would be in a similar vein. That's all I'll say. Not nearly as long, but definitely in a similar vein. Like it looks like a joke, and then you click on it and you realize, oh, this is like an actual video. An actual video played totally straight. It's not a bit. The only joke about it, the only thing that's a joke, is that it came out on April 1st, and it's not what you're expecting. You'd be shocked how many people mispronounce it. I've gotten everything from Byron to Barbara, and yeah, it's mostly missing letters and transposing letters. It's annoying, dude. I feel that. Q&A Q. What's your favorite kind of sandwich? Welcome in, Gabi. I have been partial to Wawa's breaded chicken tender hoagie with provolone cheese and some garlic aioli. Sometimes, every once in a while, I would do like bacon on it, but I think that the bacon just is a bit excessive, honestly. All right, if we're doing a Q&A, I gotta add some sauce. Okay. You get a chance to have a cookout, invite one main character from each of the Final Fantasy games you've covered. Who have I got? Whew. Okay, so Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy 1, Warrior of Light. I want to see his reaction to a hot dog. FF2. God, who would I do for FF2? For FF2, probably Rickard Highwind. From Final Fantasy 3. For 3, I would probably invite like one of the old men who thinks he's a warrior of light. 4, Final Fantasy 4, I would invite Yang. I think I would invite Yang. Yeah. 5, Ferris. Ferris is cool. 6, Final Fantasy 6, I would probably invite Sabin. I think he'd be fun at parties. I mean, like, Edgar probably would be too, but I wouldn't have to worry about Sabin harassing women. 7. For 7, I would probably invite Sid. Just for the shits and giggles. 8, Zell. 9, Kina. I would invite Kina from 9. From 10, Probably Tidus from 10. 10-2, I think the default there would be Yuna. 11, Lion. And that's the cutoff there, yeah. Who at this handsome oh, stop. Don't don't do that. Don't say that. Turn-based never left, they just simply stopped looking. Yeah, pretty much. A Metaphor ReFantasio demo is great. Just got to pull the trigger on getting the whole game. Maybe next summer sale. I mean, thankfully, like, it's not like $70 anymore. You can get it for like 20 or 30. But, like, you know, again, saving money. Don't have the time. But that's me. That's me specifically. Not that's a me problem. I can't remember the last time we've had an update on little Timbly. How's that guy doing? Timbly's okay. The thing with Timbly, I like the little guy. I do. But like people weren't really responding to him. I felt like I was like cramming him into scripts when he really didn't need to be there. So I quickly phased him out because he wasn't landing like I thought. Especially because like if I start like sprinkling in like Timbly lore, then it starts feeling really out of place, which is a shame because again I like him. I like the little guy. I like Timbly. He's a funny little guy. The April Fool's joke, a full retrospective of every FIFA game ever made. The first 8 letters, or the first 8 words of that question are getting close to the idea, but no, it's not FIFA. Wawa or Sheets? Wawa. I never knew what Sheets was until long after I was out of the Northeast, and I stopped at a few Sheets when I was on vacation because like that's what was around, and I needed to like, you know, go to the bathroom or whatever in like the early morning. I never got any like sandwiches there because I had already eaten. I wasn't hungry. But I've been with Wawa my whole life because you know I'm from Philly. So in Ohio they've got Sheets like all over the place where I was looking to move to, but you know I'm not leaving my cat behind. Said the same review 14 times in a row, just the year changes. Nah, that's too easy. It's all fun and games until you invite Saban to a party and he suplexes your whole house. Oh, that's a good point. I have to rethink that. Genius, low effort, and funny. No. The April Fool's video has to be genius, high effort, and funny. The high effort is what makes it funny. Saban would 100% be a hoot at parties. I wonder what he would drink. Like, what is Saban's drink of choice? Is he a whiskey guy? No. Definitely not a scotch guy. Do you think he would just drink beer? Like, light beer? Or would he just drink, like, water? Or maybe a soda? I don't know. Something to think about. You're from Philly? You're from Philly? Same. That being said, Publix down in Florida just destroys all of them. Can't resist a good pub sub. I don't really care for the pub sub. I really don't. Like, it's just kind of like overstuffed. I'm not that big on Publix anyhow. Saban drinks water. He needs to maintain peak physical condition. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, like, at least, like, Saban's not trying to do, like, the Hollywood thing where, like, you dehydrate yourself just to, like, you know, get all the veins and stuff so you, like, look absolutely shredded. No, Saban looks like he's got a healthy amount of body fat on him. He's a puffy bear. I'm thinking FF17 is highly likely to be turn-based because of E33, though. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's too soon to really say anything. All we can really say for certain about Final Fantasy 17 is that Square Enix is going to like push really hard on graphical fidelity. They've always tried to push and dazzle with the tech. They've done that for decades. Or gallons of Gatorade. Maybe. What's the one question nobody's ever asked, but you wish they would? I don't know. I don't really think about that. I mean, funny thing is, like, obviously I do that thing where, like, I think out loud. I imagine conversations that I'm not actually having. But of course, that all, like, kind of exits my brain, like, shortly after. But one question no one's ever asked, but you wish they would. Uh, the only things that I can think of now are not anything that I would say here on stream. Just because, like, that's not something I want to, like, talk about publicly in this setting. That's like a personal thing. God, now I'm thinking of a lot of those right now. God damn it. Saban is at peak performance. Yep, he is at peak performance. I would love a flash from the past with a turn-based 17. Vibe changed in 15 in my book. Yeah, a lot of people say that, like, it went full action in 15. Yeah, it kind of did, because, like, yeah, because 12 was still using a weird ATB, and so was 13, right? I get Square being seen as the graphical high bar, but nowadays I think it's having a lot of diminishing returns. Yeah, I agree. Like, having pretty graphics is not... It's not impressive anymore. We've hit diminishing returns on what you can do with, like, real-time computer graphics and rendering. So, like, yeah. I definitely think that's, you know, they're still going to push for that, obviously, but I think that it's not going to dazzle. It's not eye catching. Everybody can do that. Like, Expedition 33 was a AA game, and it pulled that off. 12 is like playing an MMO without the MMO part, from what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Like, a lot of people considered it to be like, yeah, this is Final Fantasy 11, but without needing internet. If they didn't consider 10-2 to be the closest thing they were going to get to a Final Fantasy 11. Give me style over realism any day of the week. Agreed. Lightning Returns is where I believe the action started becoming the forefront. I knew 12 was similar to 11. I watched my ex play 12 for a bit. She was dipping her toes in, and it's not inaccurate, but in 12 you can, like, stop the action to go through your menus. In 11, you've got a lot more menus and you can't stop it. Also, skill chains. Fucking skill chains. Good or terrible? The opposite of active time turn-based battles. Turn-based action combat. You have 10 seconds to do as much action combat as possible before it switches over to the next combatant. Isn't that just Tales of Symphonia? When you do 12, will you do both versions? I'm doing all three versions. I'm doing the original Western release, International Zodiac Job System, and the Zodiac Age. Because Zodiac Age, I'm pretty sure, added on top of IZJS. Like, I think Zodiac Age, you can do, like, 2 job license boards, right? And I think IZJS, you do only 1. But yeah, I'm covering IZJS. Which I actually do have to procure. But that is not a priority right now. The thing about 12 is I remember playing it back in the day, but I don't remember a damn thing about it. Probably because I played it in close proximity to KH2. Yeah, that would do it. Bless your soul doing that much FF12. Yeah, especially because, like, I would probably be doing it all in rapid succession because, like, I'm probably going to be working on 11 right up until that video is done. So for 12, I would be doing that, like, kind of in all of its own block. And 12 is already kind of long, isn't it? It's like 60 hours. So, yeah, that's a lot. I know that after 11, I'm really going to want another break from Final Fantasy. just because of like how taxing that video is going to be. But we'll see. What drink is that? It's just water. How many hours do you spend to make just one of these videos? A lot. So much. Like I should keep track of my hours, but I'm not good at it. So I mean, it usually takes like, a couple months at least. And even then, it just depends on like scheduling, because I try to get videos out like on an opportune day, either to like maximize ad revenue or like a significance. Like last year, Final Fantasy 9 came out on July 7th, its 25th anniversary, and I barely made that. And 10 was going to be December 1st, and then I pushed it back to like the 10th, and then like the 18th, and ultimately Christmas. And I pulled a 24-hour day to get that done. I woke up 5:30 a.m. Christmas Eve, worked on it all day, well into the night. First export failed, then I got the second export, and then I hit upload at 5:30 a.m. Christmas morning, and then went right to sleep. And then woke up like 4.5 hours later to finish like thumbnails and descriptions and stuff like that. But hey, Final Fantasy X miss happened, so can't complain too much. It all went according to plan. I started the Zodiac Age twice and got burned out the second I made it to earning the second job board both times. The good news is that the Gambit system plays a lot of the game for you. Yeah, I've heard people love and hate it for that, but we'll see. Man gave us the best Christmas gift we could ask for. I hope both sides of your pillow are cold at night. I wish my pillow wasn't was a bit fluffier, because a lot of the fluff is kind of flattened. What PC specs do you have to handle all that when making the video? I'm assuming you use Premiere, or do you use multiple files and merge them? I use Premiere. I've got a 3080. I have a Ryzen 9 9900X, 64 gigs of RAM, multiple drives. The drive that I mainly used for the Final Fantasy videos was actually starting to fail while editing the 10 video, so I had to like offload stuff to one of my SSDs while editing, or else like shit got really fucking bad. So that was real stop and go for a while. I replaced the drive, and I went from a 6 terabyte to a 10 terabyte for that. So, and of course I backed everything up. But I have them all in one project file, but I divvy it up into multiple sequences. So like each chapter gets its own sequence, and then I put them all together into a master sequence. I might make multiple projects for 11, just because like how big that video is going to be. I would want to, kind of like streamline that as much as possible. It's insane the amount of quality content you make in the time span that you do. Hey, Plaid. I mean, yeah, I've seen some people like get concerned about like me burning out because of like the rate I put stuff out, but I'm like, I don't put out stuff that fast. It's like every other month at most. Now you can get concerned now because I'm trying to like up the rate ahead of the move. Like I was only going to do 5 videos this year. I'm trying to bump that up to 6, maybe 7. Try to put out like 1 video a month between now and the move. But only 3 of those are retrospectives. One of those is short, like barely an hour. That's Jack X. And then one of them would be like the video about the Persona 4 anime, which I've had like in mind for years. 10-2 and Halo. Halo and Jack X probably not going to do very well. Jack X probably going to get hit by restricted mode, And the fact that it's Jack X, like a lot of people don't care because like, oh, it's just a racing spinoff, whatever. And then Halo could do well because like there's interest being drummed up because of Campaign Evolved, but also because like nobody cares about my Halo videos. It seems like it'd be so far out for anyone who's here for Final Fantasy. So it's like, why? Why would you do this? And then, of course, a lot of people probably would not want to watch it on principle because, oh, this is owned by Microsoft. They are, supportive of fucking Israel and fucking genocide of Palestinians. And would probably see me talking about Halo as, being ignorant or even accepting of that. And I'm like, no, I'm not talking about Halo to show my support for fucking Microsoft. I'm talking about Halo because I want to tell the story of people who made a game that had a major impact on the industry. But more importantly, I want to talk about it within the context of what it was at the time, because I'm not going to talk about Halo 1 as the first Halo. I'm talking about Halo 1 as the next Bungie game, as the successor to Marathon and Myth. I've been playing Marathon on and off as of late, the original Marathon, and it's really good. And I'm like upset that like the new Marathon's a fucking extraction shooter. But like, I can ignore that for this because 25 years removed. Damn, your specs are literally the same as mine, besides the 9900 being a 7950. Hey, I mean, you got more cores than I do. I've got homework to do, so my weekend can be free for the next Tomodachi Life. So I gotta go. Thanks for listening to my inane questions. Hope you have the loveliest of weeks. Thank you, anonymous individual. I hope you enjoy Tomodachi Life. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm not dropping money on new Joy-Cons for it though. My project starts struggling after an hour of length. Oof. I mean, I lay out the skeleton of audio and then I edit the video after, and that helps. Are you using proxies? Don't forget to use proxies. What's your favorite comedy bit from a video you've done? Personal one for me are the Dark Aeon crash out and the localization bit from the FF5 video. Honorable mention, the Scrubs rant. I don't really do the comedy bits often because like people don't expect them to do it. I don't think they really want them. I still love Frankie bits from the end of Jack 2. Like I want to do another Frankie bits segment before I move. I'm going to be doing a recurring bit soon with John. We're going to like bulk record a bunch of stuff before I move, and the first one's going to be in the 10-2 video. Can I ask a dumb question? You may ask a dumb question. I will not judge. But yeah, like I want to do another Frankie Bits. We were going to do one for Final Fantasy X. Frankie Bits' Spear and Travel service. You want to go see Blitzball? You want to ride the shoe buff? But man, working on the 10 video was just so fraught, and he traveled up to Chicago with John and Joey for a week. So it's like we could not make that work. I need to get an original Xbox sometime soon just so I can play Halo the way it was intended. That and Jet Set Radio Future. Just a little tight on money at the moment. You might be able to guess why. Yeah, I know why. I mean, honestly, like, Master Chief Collection runs on a potato PC, and, like, it pushes you to play the remaster. You can play the original graphics and music. It's fine. Honestly, that's what makes them solid. They come out of left field and have me cackling. Yeah, like I try to do more subtle jokes, like some visual jokes, like the feet picks thing on Ifrit for FF8, but sometimes I can't help myself. Timberly lives in my heart. Timberly lives in all of us, just like Godzilla. What kind of shampoo do you use? I use Hask, but it's not the shampoo that matters. It's the conditioner. Because, shampoo once or twice a week, condition every day. I say, knowing that I have not showered today. It's been a day. Yeah, I use Hask, Hask. Your videos are awesome. Thank you, Fernando. I know the 14 video is a long ways out, but how are you going to try to structure it? Same way I'm gonna structure 11. Uh, every version slash expansion is gonna get its own little development section, its own reception section, its own legacy section. It's gonna be a bunch of mini videos in one. It's not the structure that's gonna be difficult with 14. It's gonna be the information and talking about the game as it was at the time, because it has changed significantly. Why is it that whenever you're live that people want to DM you and want your attention? There was one stream I did. God, it was a while ago. Like I went for like 3 hours, maybe four, and I came back and I had like 20 DMs from 20 DMs, 20 notifications. Like, goddamn. It's nice to feel wanted, but goddamn. What kind of conditioner do you recommend? Like, honestly, like, it depends on your hair. It depends on your hair, dude. Like, I'm not an expert with hair. Um, ask your hairdresser. Like, I like Hask. I like Hask. I've been like, it's been good to me. Um, avoid cheap stuff. Don't get like the shampoo conditioner combo stuff, because like it's terrible at both of them. It's going to leave your hair feeling chalky, especially if you do like the 3-in-1, the shampoo conditioner body wash. Like, so many of my guy friends actually, like with short hair, actually use that shit, and I'm just like, dude, you're killing me. Because like I go over to stay at their house for like a few days, and like I don't bring, and like in the event I don't bring my own conditioner, I'm stuck with that. My hair is just like a fucking ratty mess for days. Ugh. Your bitterness toward KH2 Setzer was hilarious. I like to think so. I think there was like another bit with Setzer, like another aside I cut. I honestly can't remember. You guys are in for a treat. He's putting a lot of effort into 11 from what I can tell. Sorry, don't know Roman numerals. It's XI plaid. X for 10, I for 1. But yeah, 11. A lot of effort. I need a hairdresser. I'm too shy to go to one, so I cut my own hair. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, like I get that. Honestly, like go to like a hair cuttery, like a Supercuts, whatever. Like don't be picky. Go to a local place if you can. Yeah, basically, like you got to reach out for that kind of stuff. Don't cut your own hair unless you're a professional. Even then, as a fellow Setzer enjoyer, I feel it, but I try not to let the KH representations of FF characters bother me, because they're pretty much lobotomized versions. I look at them as like, different versions, not like lobotomized, but yeah, like Setzer in particular rubbed me the wrong way, but I just played it up for the bit. It's not that big a deal, except it is, because like Setzer's cool. 2-in-1 is a sham. Don't skimp on hair care. Yeah, don't. I miss my hair. I miss my hair. I miss my hair, Tails. Barbershops are intimidating. They can be. Like any place can be intimidating if you have like crippling social anxiety. I get it. I don't know who Satzer is. Ah, yes, this is my original character, Satzer. Squall is the best represented character in Kingdom Hearts. Squall and, depending on how you look at it, I would say Cloud and Aerith, just because, like, yeah, in Kingdom Hearts 2, they really feel like how they do in Advent Children, and that's not a compliment. I always forget whether the I is before or after, depending on the number. So if you put it before, if it is meant to be the numeral that comes before the main numeral. So IX would be 9 because it is 10 minus 1, 1 before 10. XI would be 11 because it's 10 plus 1, 1 after 10. Satzer is the alternative multi-version of Setzer. Thank you. I hate it. I hate it so much. Love your FF retrospective series. Easily one of the best on the platform. Which video are you most proud of? Thank you, Special K. That's a tough one, because like I'm super proud of FF6 because of I broke that into two blocks, and it was it was a massive undertaking. It was the biggest video I'd ever made up to that point. Um, but there are some parts where I feel like, yeah, I was a little short sighted, a little naive. Um, and I missed the line, the change that Edgar was like, no, that'd be a crime. I missed that. I knew about it. It's just it one of the things that fell through the cracks. Um, I thought a little too hard about Locke being forlorn for Rachel. I thought way too hard about that. Um, and and saying that, yeah, I'm not saying Kefka is an allegory for the United States. Yeah, that was short sight. That was fucking stupid. I shouldn't have said that. But I'm very proud of the 10 video because of the whole context section, like 40 plus minutes talking about the state of Square and what the movie did to them and everything. That was a tremendous undertaking. And I'm super proud of that whole section. I'm glad it turned out as well as it did. Because like I had been building up to, because like just like how I had been building up to the Japanese economy popping in the Final Fantasy V video for the past 4 videos, I had been building up to the Spirits Within since the end of the FF7 video. And I remember a couple people leaving comments on like FF8 saying like, man, hearing these references to the Spirits Within is it's hard, it's harrowing, because like it's coming, what's going to happen, and you're powerless to stop it. And I'm just like, good. Good. And also just like the clips I chose for like for talking about the voice actors in the FF10 video, like I brought it up before, but like the clip where Hetty Burris in Foxfire says like, if I ever catch you near her again, I will fucking kill you. I was hoping that actually get like more of a reaction, but like no one said anything about it. I'm like, God damn it. Like, man, I thought that was funny. Or how Hetty Burris, she was on that episode of Pepper Ann, and her character was talking about Friedrich Nietzsche and the will to power. And I used that clip specifically as a callback to Final Fantasy IX, but again, no one brought it up. No one, no one talked about it. I'm like, damn it, these were like intentional choices, man, and like either no one picked up on it or no one cared to say anything, man. Oh well. I snuck some Liz Fair in there. That was fun. One or two people appreciated that needle drop. I've been loving putting some needle drops in. Like I have to like fuck around a little with like the audio levels so that they don't get dinged by content ID, but I like throwing in some music that I like just for funsies, like 5-4 in the Jack 3 video. I'm surprised that didn't get claimed. Chemistry in Kingdom Hearts 2, Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out in Kingdom Hearts 2. I had that specific montage in mind since July. So like, yeah, like 6 and 10, Final Fantasy 6, 10, 9, 6 and I'm especially proud of 10. Like, yeah, I didn't talk about the cloisters, but man, like getting that video together, it was a trial. So yeah, the fact that it turned out as good as it did. I'm not into the Advent Children representation. No, Kingdom Hearts 2, like on that front, did feel like an ad for Advent Children. Also, the what Dark Aeon bit. Yeah, that was fun. How are you going to handle FF11's history and lore story when it's an MMO and has a deep, long background? So that's a good question, Mylene. With 11, I'm taking it as it comes. So as far as like its lore goes, I'm going to talk about the lore as it was understood on an expansion by expansion basis. So like, you're not going to know who the new Tailkeeper is. You don't know who the new Tailkeeper is of the Galka until Rise of the Zillart. So like, for the base game section, I'm not going to say anything about who the Tailkeeper is, just that Raugrim was the last Tailkeeper. Then when we get to Rise of the Zillart, I'll say, oh yeah, it's this person now. which that's real hard because like there's so many NPCs and there's so many like other quests to like find lore, and it's like trying to separate all that out. That's tough. Which is why I'm gonna have like a bunch of people who are dyed in the wool with 11 like look over the script here and there to like offer feedback more or less in real time. I was left going, oh dang, when I heard that clip of Yuna's VA. It was something. Kingdom Hearts more like oh. Gonna gonna time you out there. Oh man, it's almost 8:30. God damn. Will you go into details of Fabula Nova Crystallis when you reach that part of Final Fantasy, or just like the necessary stuff for us to understand the 13 mythos? I'll talk about Fabula Nova Crystallis because that, if I remember correctly, that was announced alongside 13. So you can't really talk about like 13's existence without bringing up Fabula Nova Crystallis. So I wish FF fans wouldn't just go, it's like Kingdom Hearts at anything like with FF7 Remake. Yeah, like using Kingdom Hearts as like, an insult or, as a pejorative is like, it's so tired. It's so fucking tired. And it's not even really like insightful. It's just saying, oh, it's weird and confusing. It's like, would you like to elaborate on that? Or just saying, oh, it's Nomura on his bullshit when like a lot of what you're describing is Nojima on his bullshit. Yeah, I'm less inclined to take people seriously when they do that too. It's just, look, if you're going to be dismissive of the thing and not really elaborate, I'm not going to take you seriously either. Any other major franchises you're thinking of tackling at some point that you haven't already started on? I brought this up way earlier. Pokemon is on the list. I just don't want to deal with fucking adult Pokemon fans who just want to take any excuse they can to just like bash Game Freak. And I'm not saying Game Freak is beyond criticism. I'm just tired of it. I'm fucking tired of Pokemon discourse. It's exhausting. If you're not having fun with the series anymore, stop fucking playing. Go do something else. You are not obligated to continue playing. These are games for children. Just because they did not grow up with you, just because they are not like tailored to you now as an adult, is not the game's problem. That's not Game Freak's problem. That's a you that shouldn't even be a you problem, man. Like, you need know when to fold them. You don't have to continue with a series well past the point where you're no longer enjoying it, where you're not getting anything out of it. You can move on. Stop wasting your time and money. Adult Pokemon fans have a weird fascination with trees. People were dogging on that. It's like, oh, it's like an N64 texture. Dude, I don't fucking care. Sword and Shield weren't that bad. They were just kind of boring. Scarlet and Violet, like, yeah, unoptimized as shit. They needed more time in the oven. I didn't have nearly the same issues that a lot of other people had, and I don't want to say that those issues didn't exist. I don't want to say they didn't impact other people's experience. But I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet for what they were. I thought they were fun. I thought it was a nice sort of fresh take on the structure of Pokemon. But a lot of people just can't wrap their heads around that particular point of praise. Radical Soda is mostly to blame for that negative stigma on Pokemon. I think I know that name. All I know is that it started to brew with Gen 6, and then it just exploded with Dexit in the lead up to Sword and Shield. Just fucking exploded with that. Holy shit. And ever since then, it's just been fucking insufferable. I legit haven't played since Red and Blue. Oh man, you missed out on best gen, gold and silver. Gen 2 best gen, which like a lot of people started to get more critical of Gen 2, especially people who started with like Diamond and Pearl and such, pointing out like the janky level curve, how most of the new Pokemon are in the post game and stuff like that. And I can't push back against any of those criticisms of Gen 2 because they all have a point. They're all correct. But like, man, Gen 2's vibes, I love Johto so much, and all that stuff like doesn't really bother me. Like if you'd like just beeline Gen 2 like any other Pokemon game, then yeah, you're gonna run into those issues. But it's a game where you're kind of like meant to take it slowly and do your dailies and such. You know, Tama Hero did a great video about it. I will say I think if Game Freak took 2 to 3 years for a game, because as I see the potential, but they need more time to cook. I mean, yeah, like Pokemon, generally speaking, there's been 3 years separating generations like forever. Gen 1 came out in 96 in Japan. Gen 2 was in 99. Gen 3 was in 2002. Gen 4 was delayed a year, so it came out 2006. And then 2010 for Gen 5. Again, this is all Japanese release dates. Then Gen 6 was 2013. Gen 7 2016, Sword and Shield 2019, Scarlet and Violet 2022. That was Gen 9. Gen 7 is coming out 2027. So they're giving it time to cook, which is a good sign. In short, basically one of those Pokemon fans obsessed with tree textures. Oh. I do think that even for a kids franchise, kids kind of deserve better. I think the revisionism towards the older games is more irritating. I mean, you do have a point. Like, I don't think that the games as they are bad for kids. I think that they're perfectly suitable. I don't know. Like, also, like, Game Freak, they've pointed out, like, hey, we're now competing with, like, smartphone games that, like, are, you know, providing instant gratification and such. So, like, they do have to, like, change their approach to, like, keep kids' attention, so... it is partially a circumstantial thing. Yeah, the revisionism towards older games is annoying though, because like there are a lot of people who with Gen 1 it's either love or hate. Oh, this is the best thing ever, the worst thing ever. And it's like, man, like yeah, Gen 1 was janky, but at the time it didn't feel janky at the time. It just felt simple, and that's fine. That moving on from Pokemon hits close to my own experience with my own Street Fighter competitive experience. But that lasted for around 8 years on me hating the series but still playing before moving on. Dude, like, at least you moved on. It took you a minute, but you moved on. Don't stay in, like, a toxic relationship that you yourself are perpetuating. While I appreciate how seriously you lay out your videos, the occasional comedy is an excellent addition. I recently rewatched your videos and felt your current pace with comedy is the perfect amount. Comedy is all about timing. You just gotta time it right. Gen 3 is my personal fave, and I haven't really been in since, but anytime I need some good vibes, I can boot up those old games and just chill. Gen 3 has a special place in my heart because that was the generation that was current when I moved to Florida, so it was like one of the few like constants that I had going from like Pennsylvania to Florida. So like I lost my Sapphire copy, but I still had Ruby at the time. So I had that, and then Fire Red and Leaf Green came out that fall, shortly after the move. So that was an interesting turn there. But yeah, like Gen 3, Gen 3 is good. Like it's probably my second favorite generation, but the nostalgia for Gen 2 and the vibes and the music just beat it out for me. But Emerald's really good. Emerald is really good. Too bad the Battle Frontier is like stupidly difficult. right. So it's 8:30. I was planning on only going for 2 hours, but I was only planning on going for 2 hours because again, I didn't know if my friend Kira was going to finish Final Fantasy VI on stream tonight. She is not. She's going to be doing that tomorrow. So when that happens, I will post a link on Blue Sky and on the community page, because I told her I would rally the troops like I did when she was at the floating continent, and she thought that was the end of the game. I said, come see the light drain from her eyes, and that was fun. That was funny. But we're not done. What I'm going to do here. Hold on 1 second. What I'm going to do here is we're going to take a short break, and we're going to take a short break. I'm going to get some caffeine, and we are going to do a little live read of a script in progress. I will be cutting this from the VOD because I want this to be something a little special. So while I'm gone for a few minutes, put in the chat which script you want to see me read a little bit of. Do you want to see me read Sum of 10-2 or Final Fantasy 11? So we'll be right back.